To meet you. Hello, it's Rebecca Happy here, and I'm here with Woo Infinity Spotlight on the Speakers. Today we're speaking with Holly Warner from Bougie Batch, the Bougie Batch Queen, and she's going to talk to us about the word that I can't remember, but she'll tell you what it is because this is the kind of practice that she's doing at the event. Her talk is going to be on that, and her booth is going to be all about that. She's an herbalist and all kinds of wonderful things she's just about to tell us. Thank you so much for joining us today, Holly. I'm so excited to meet you.
Thank you for having me. It's okay. It's hard for everyone to say Spagyric.
Spagyric. Okay, perfect.
So it is Spagyric medicine, and I am an herbal alchemist. I also am a clinical herbalist and a bunch of other medical qualifications that mean absolutely nothing as I sit here with my witch's broom above me and my crystals and my grimoire and my bougie batches.
Yeah, so tell us about those batches because they sound like intriguing, even if you have the witch's hat up there. I never noticed. But tell us about a little bit about what that is and how you came to sort of creating them.
So these guys here are they're my baby. It sort of started out within my medical practice where patients of mine they were taking medications or they were taking supplements. And I thought, oh God, this herb would do so much better. Let's make this, or let's do a decoction, or let's do a tea or an infusion. And I thought, oh, this would be so much more effective as a tincture. So I just was making tinctures for my patients in my clinical practice, which then turned into me playing with recipes and doing things. And one bottle floated down the block to a neighbor, which floated to another neighbor, which a few weeks later ended up with a knock on the door, and somebody presented me with a mason jar and they said, "Can I get some of your magic elixir?" And I went, "What? What are we talking about?" And that's when it sort of became, I need to not just give they were bottles like this that were not labeled. I needed to put labels, and I needed to get them out there to more people because they were these amazing remedies, and herbs are magic, which then turned into me incorporating terpenes into the blend. And now I have this amazing, beautiful, loyal, almost cult following where, during the pandemic, when you couldn't get certain herbs and I couldn't source certain things for this, I had people one woman said, "I will give you $200 if you find me a bottle of your private stash." And I kind of went, whoa, okay.
So tell us a little bit about what's a tincture?
So we have a lot of different terms for things. There's tinctures and there's tonics and there's oxymels, and each thing is sort of different. We put tinctures under this little umbrella, but when people use the term, it's not always correct. A tincture is typically herbs used in a specific menstruum, meaning alcohol. Sometimes you'll take herbs, you'll put them into, dried herb into a 40% to 60% menstruum of alcohol. Typically vodka or grain alcohol. Some things like roots require a higher percentage, a 70 to 90%. You're putting them into, more of like an ethanol alcohol, and you let them sit. And you shake them once in a while, and then you strain the herbs out and you put them in a bottle, and that is a tincture. Tonics are typically done with whether, you're making a syrup or you're doing it with apple cider vinegar. And then you have oxymels, which are oxy, meaning acid. So vinegar, mel, honey, you put them together with whatever garlic, onions, herbs. It's an oxymel. So there's different menstruums, meaning different things. The tincture itself is typically an alcohol base. Some of them are glycerin based, but typically it's an alcohol base.
So these are all sort of created like historically as for medicinal purposes.
Yes.
It's I think when we didn't have advanced medicine, we did people in their homes, everybody knew somebody who did tinctures. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. Most of us were burned as witches.
Okay.
There was once upon a day, being an herbalist was not the trade you wanted to be in, but you were born into it. And as an Irish and a Scottish woman, the folklore runs deep.
Right. Do you know, is this very developed in France as well? I lived in France for a little while, and they seem to be just the public seem to know all about herbs and harvesting. They would go up the mountain, and everybody did it.
Oh yeah.
what seemed as a very common practice.
Oh,
And it wasn't
absolutely.
so esoteric.
Whatever kitchen you go into, and the elder, they call us the crones, the older with the gray hair. And I love the crone actually means the elder with the wisdom who wears the crown.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So when someone says you're a crone, I say thank you. It's a beautiful term. A hag is like the angel. So I'm okay with all of those. You go into the kitchen, you see them doing, oh, you have a cold, and they've got the ginger and they're doing the things with the honey. This is herbalism.
Right.
Whether you're Italian or French or no matter Indian, whatever you are, you're going to have that folklore that's been passed down through the generations. I don't know why we put the onion on the bottom of the foot when someone's sick, but my grandma did it, her grandma did it, and her grandma. So we do it.
So what made you get into like the Spagyric medicine?
Yes.
Is a little bit substantially different than sort of basic tinctures or even naturopathic remedies and all this kind of stuff. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? Because you said earlier that that's going to be the subject of your talk at this coming April's spiritual summit.
So when you take an herbal remedy, you go to the store, and I'll use something common that most people know about. We say, oh, I have a cold. I'm going to go to the health food store and I'm going to get some elderberry syrup. Perfect. Here you go. Why didn't it work? Well, because you didn't get elderflower, just elderberry, and you got a fever. And the elderflower is what works for the fever. The elderberry is what works for the rest of it. So there's a difference. But you say, oh, I still have a cough. Why didn't it work? I took slippery elm. I took this for my, why didn't it work? You took it for your cough. Yes. Well, what kind of a cough did you have? Oh, I don't know. I had a cough. It was in my throat. Was it in your throat or was it in your chest? Was it dry and hacking or was it damp? Was it up high or down low? How deep in the chest was it? Because what I'm going to give you is not going to be the same as what I'm going to give the other person who also has a cough, but a very different cough. Now, I'm also going to say, what is your constitution? Are you generally someone who has a damp constitution? Because I'm going to give you a different plant. So the 10 plants that I could have picked for your cough, we took away 5. Now we've taken away, we only have 2. And then I go, when were you born? What's your planetary alignment? Oh, this is the plant. We narrowed it down from all of the possibilities to something that's just for you, the individual you. Mm-hmm. Because the planets and the moon and everything else came into play. And that's when I realized, okay, that's woo-woo BS, but it works. Okay. Well, where's the science? I need the science. I am the science witch. This is what
the science witch.
And that was it. That was the end of it. I went, you know what? Screw the science. I still use the science. I use the soxolite. I do the extractions. I love it. I love the chemistry. I love the science. But the folklore is where it sings to your soul. It's beautiful and it's magical. And if I can incorporate the two together, that's what we all need right now. Mother Earth wants us to take back the old ways and use them.
Are you growing your own herbs? Do you have a big herb garden, or you're getting them in the community or the woods?
I am. I'm growing snow right now. A beautiful backyard of snow. It's glorious and white. It glistens in the moonlight. It's delightful. I started
chanting that.
All right, you know what I'm talking about. I do grow some of my own herbs. I also source them. I have people who grow for me, who I know how they're growing, where they're growing, what they're growing in. Mm-hmm. That way I know when was the herb harvested. Hey, this is ready. This is flowering. This has to be picked right now. We have 2 days to get this done. Get it over to me. Get it into the soxolite because it's fresh. Needs to go through that to extract it so that I can get the mineral content out of it. I mean, that's the science part, but also the spagyric medicine so that I can go, okay, now this very small batch done this way is for this. And it's done. And that's it. And then sometimes I let it do another cycle where it sits in the moonlight and it does all of the things. So that's being able to work small batches with small farms that's how I do all of that. And then some of the other stuff that's not necessarily done in a strict spagyric fashion. I may not know when the herb was harvested, but I still on my end follow, moon cycles and all of that.
Are there a lot of people that do this kind of medicine?
No.
No.
I don't think there's anyone else locally that's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a term that when I say I do spagyric medicine, people go, spa. It's a spa. What? Bless you. It's not something that's talked about. Astrological medicine.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Astrological.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about astrology, or you just
no?
Okay.
No, which is what made it so challenging for me, because I understand it when it's applied to this. So certain, I understand that, this herb has an affinity for Saturn. It's got Saturn characteristic. I get that, which means that it's the old man Saturn. It's the 7 moons away. It's blah, blah, blah. It's slow. I understand that means this herb is going to work slower, take longer to take effect, yada, yada. So I get that. But then if you ask me, who's moon sign, sun sign, astrological chart, blah. Huh? So in my little component of the astrological world, I understand it. But there's all of this, which is the beauty of working with other people, is that I can say, ooh, go see this person. They're going to do all your astrological. They're going to tell me your sun sign, moon sign, all that stuff. They're going to do it for you because they understand it. They're going to help you understand it better. And then you can come to me and we'll make the medicine.
Okay. So you have a sort of an integrated team of people. Yes. So we're going to wrap this up. I heard that you're also going to be offering a workshop.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about your workshop and how do people, get access to it on April 22nd.
The workshop's going to be launched. I think you guys are giving out links, and we're going to put the link, or I'm not quite sure on how those details are working. We're still finalizing that. The workshop's going to show you kind of how to make your own herbal medicine. Okay. In your kitchen, how to make your own little tinctures that'll last you, here it is, put it in the cupboard. It's good for a year. How to make an oxymel for cold and flu season. There was a shortage of antibiotics. So how to kind of make something that has its own antibiotic properties so that you can either tide yourself over until you get to the doctor if you get hit on a Friday, or maybe it's going to be a remedy that it took care of it enough that you are okay now. So I'm going to kind of teach people how to do that in a smaller scale. And then if they want to do my workshop series that I'm going to be launching in, I think, May, June, then they can sign up for that. It'll be a 3-part series where they're going to leave with stuff that they've made and teas and tinctures and all of that stuff. So each one teaches them how to do something, and then they can incorporate it from then on in, making their own.
Very cool. I'm so excited. So if you guys want to come and hear Holly speak on April 22nd, along with maybe 10 or 12 other speakers and 75 vendors, and participate in her workshop, you can go to woospiritualsummit.com and pick up a ticket. It's going to be amazing. And Holly's workshop sounds phenomenal. So thanks for joining us today, Holly.
Thank you. And everyone who comes to the workshop is going to leave with a little something.
Oh, really? Yeah. A tincture.
Something fun.
Oh.
Very fun. It's a secret.
Okay. Fun. Thank you.
Thank you.